Okay, so thank you so much for joining today's session. So in the last class, what we had a discussion. So we had a discussion about how we will control the service now by using the ACLs, and we have seen it and all the stuff. And earlier classes, we just use the how we can uh, use a glide record and all other stuff. We checked it. Now what we have to check, we just check how service now will work for it. That means service now, how we can use a glide method for them. So for that I will share the one document. So what was the methods which we can use for the same thing. So I will explain what are the methods we'll use in the glide record, and once this class is complete I will share this document to you so that you can also refer it. So in the glide one, add active query. So when you filter, what is the why we use the glide record in the service now? If you want to call in a table, we will use the glide record. Now, so the issue was what we have to do it is so what are the methods we can use it? Add active query. Add active query is nothing but which is used as a filter and which will be used to fetch to filter the active records in that current table. So this is the one of the most common asked interview question. The interviewer may ask how we can the interviewer may ask how we can fetch the active records. Then we can say, so we can use the add active query which will fetch the current active records in the system. That is a fun thing. Next one, add encode query and still query. That means add encode query we have already seen, 2 to 3 conditions we have fetched it and we can query and we can easily execute it. That means multiple filter conditions. If you want to use it, we can use the add encode query we have already seen. Next one, not null query. Add not null query. Add not null query is nothing but which will filters where the field names are not null and which will returns the glide record condition. That means if there is no that field names or something, it will execute the same thing. And add null query. So it as a filter where the field values are null. That means if the field values are none, then it will use as a filter condition for the same thing here. So this is the thing we can do it. And next one, add query. Add query is nothing but its add query will be used to fetch the operations to fetch the execution, all the things. That means what are the filter? Add query is nothing. For example, you want to fetch a filter condition. That means filter means how can I say, you want to create instance on the last week. At the time we can use a created by created and we can use the same thing for it. So that's the basics thing we can had the same here. So next one, add query. So add query also which will be the operators also we can do it. Operators is nothing but like or operator, and operator, equal to operator. Those are all the operators which we can see it. So here this is the one. Next one, glide query is nothing but what is the glide query is used to, that means add query. So what are the filter conditions which is in the above? It will be convert as a what you call say Glide query is nothing but what are the filter conditions which will be used for this, and we can do the same thing. That means the filter, what are the filter conditions in the above thing, it will be fetch, it will be query those conditions for the same thing here. So this is the basic thing. I hope you are able to understand or any confusion still now. Very good. Now, now add condition. Add condition is nothing but adds a condition to the current condition. That means, so if you already an existing condition, for that it will add. We can use the and condition to the something one, and here add or condition. That means we use the it used to use the or conditions which will be access. It will use the or condition. So we can see, right, when you write a filter something, we can, when you filter a record by in the list level, we use and or operator to fetch on. So in that script, if you want to use it, if you want to add and condition, we can use add condition, and if you want to use or condition, add or condition for the same thing for it. So this is the thing we can do. And next one, has access. So has access is nothing but, so till now you understood, right, guide query methods. You have any confusion? Say yes or no, guys. Hello. Can you hear me, Uday and Kiran? Okay, now clear. Still any confusion? Okay. So now it's clear or any confusion? Okay, just give a minute. I'm just switch the Wi-Fi. Hello. Now clear or any still confusion? Now clear or any still you have any confusion for it? Okay, very good. So maybe that's Wi-Fi issue. That's fine. So now the glide query conditions, which is used to use the conditions for the same thing here. So till now, what we discussed, you have any confusion or anything we have missed it or something? So any confusion? Okay, very good. So now next one, has access. So has access is nothing but what are the things we can has access. That means can create method is used to create the user so can the user can create a record in that, like a create ACL, right? Like that we can just add the same thing. That means it will check whether the user is has the record to create a record access or not. So can delete, right, whether the user can delete the record or not, it will check it. Can read, that means whether the user can read the record in this table or not, it will verify it. And can write, that means whether the user can modify the record or not. So this is the has access methods will be used. There are four has access method. The first one is the can create, so it will check whether the user can create the record or not. Next one, can delete, that means it can delete the record, it can delete the in this one. Can read, can the user read, can the user read this from this table, that means it will check whether the user can read the table or not. So can write, that means whether it will check whether the user can modify or edit or something the record in the tables, sorry, tables records in the tables. So that is the has access for this. So you clear what is a has access? Okay, so next one. Very good. Next one, there are two methods for the delete method. So here there is a two records, delete multiple and delete. So what we can do, delete is nothing but you will delete a one record at a time. But delete multiple, that means if you get a priority one conditions, for example, what it will do, so it will do for the same thing here. If it is a delete, it will delete the one record. If it is a delete multiple, what are the query things which we have done, all the stuff, and they see the same thing. This is the thing we can do for the same here. Delete multiple, but means delete multiple records can delete the what are the records in the query condition fetched it. So this is also one of the most common asked interview question. Interview may ask what is the difference between delete and delete multiple records. I hope it clear. Okay, very good. Now, now the next step is what we have to do, it is get record. So what is a get attribute here? Get attribute is nothing but which will be so returns the dictionary attribute for the field name. That means when you are defining a table in that one, so what we will do is, sorry, when you are defining a where value, so in that if you have any attribute, it will do for the attribute for the same thing here. It's not a background value, so that means what it will do is, in the above, whenever I will show you the field. So for example, so we will open a field. So I'm just opening. Now we have incidents. I'm just opening incident. The attribute is nothing but, so for example, you attribute, if I open this assign to this, just for an example. See, so we are not in the scope, right? Okay, we go to the global scope. So the attribute is nothing but, so what are the attributes for the dictionary? Something. This is the attribute we can read. That means alters the field behavior and functionality depending upon this one. So you want to call this attribute, we can do the same thing here. Okay. So now next one, that is attribute. The next one what it will do, it is get display value. So get display value is nothing but it will returns the what was the value displaying in the current record. That means if I open this one incident, if I go back, get display, what it will fetch it. Okay, still it is loading. So if I open this one, if I open this record, for example, the incident, so get display, that's what it will displays the current this record. Okay. Next one, get element. Get element is nothing but it will raise the glide element for the field. That means glide element is nothing but what was the backend value which was given for the field. We will call it as a glide element for the same. That means whatever we have done, it will be the glide element is used for the field name or something for the same thing here. Next one, glide element is nothing but simple. it will fetch the backend value, right? If you go to the caller, what is the backend value? Caller underscore id, which is a backend value where we can use the same thing for it. Okay, and that is the one. And next one, get enquired query. Get enquired query is nothing but it will returns the current condition in an enquired query. That means currently if you have any query condition, you can in place what is the current query condition. If you want to, you can use in the enquired query also, we can use the same thing. That means if you get it in the current record as a filter, priority is high. So what we can do it is we can access it from the priorities high also. We can use the if you want to on the priority high, and if you want to use in the filter condition, we can use as a add encode query also. By default we can use it by using the add encode query. That means the current query condition, it will be a come as a encode thing for the C. So mostly this we cannot use this one, very less one. And get record class name. Get record class name is nothing but what was the class name of the record. That means the backend table. Sometimes it will create a table classes if you create any extended tables. So that we will return it as a same thing. So for example, if I open this for our work order, right? So I will open this our work order. So this is the work order task, right? If I open, go back. If you go to that, oh my god, if you enter it all. See, since this is a table from the backend, so it will come as a class. So if you want to get this class name, it will fetch from the this method. This method is nothing but get record class name method. Next one, get count is nothing but so how many records in that one, it will use the get record row count method for the same thing one. That means in the query, if you give a priority high, if you want to check how many records in that one, we can use a method called get count. Next one, get table name. Get table name is nothing but it will fetch the current record table name for the same thing. So whether it should belongs to incident or problem or change any other thing, it will fetch it. And next one, get unique value. Get unique value is nothing but it will returns the primary key of the record, which is a sys ID of the system for the same thing here. So that's the one. And get value. What is a get value? Get value will returns the value for the field name for the same thing. That means it will returns the value for the field name. So value is nothing but we can, that means what is the value in the existing, it will fetch the same thing for it. So for example, if I open this one get value, if you in the if in the work order, we will give a right the application or company, the companies you are given, that will be fetched for the same thing here. That is a get value advantage. And next one, the method get string. Get string is nothing but get also will use for the primary record. We use for the directly with for the sysad also we can use the same thing. Next one, get object name object value. It will fetch a record where field name equals to the value. That means field name and value both are same, it will be the same thing one. And get last error message, that means what was the last error message we used to, it will fetch it. And next one, has next. We have already seen has next returns true if there is any record in the glider. That means if you want to move on to the next step, so mostly you can use the has next one. Next one, initialize. Initialize is nothing but it's create empty record without any default value set. That means it will create a complete empty record which will not fill the values for it. Next one is new record. Is new record is used to returns if the current record is not here has been inserted into the database. That means when you are creating a record which is about to it will if you want to fetch whether the record is already existing in the system at that time, we will use the is new record method for the same thing. Next one, insert is it will insert a new record, and new record creates a new record and set the default value for the fields. See, initialize will create a record, and new record will create a record with the default values, and initialize will be used to create it with the without any default records for the same thing. So this is also one of the interview question. Interview may ask difference between initialize and the new record. Okay, and next, that means next method is next is nothing, it moves to the next record in the glide record object. That means what are the query condition 21. If you want to in the write a script and execute one, so it will one by one, so we can use the next one. Next one is the query. So what is a query? It will performs the what is a filter, it will fetch all the query condition. And set limit is nothing but how many records we can fetch from the query. We can use the set limit function for the same thing here. And next one, set value is used to set the value for the field for the same thing. So till now you guys clear, any confusion? Very good. Next one, set workflow is used to, for example, whenever this is the most common asked into question, the interviewer may ask in the backend, I don't want to I want to run a script in the background, and I don't want to run a business rules and email notification, all those steps for it. Then how we can achieve this one? That means we can use a method called set workflow false. That means it will disable the execution of business rules, notification engines, and script engines, audit, and all other stuff. So if you execute this one in the backend, even so whenever if you are writing the script in the backend, so this is the best method we can use for the one set workflow also. So update is used to update the record in the database. That's the first thing. And update multiple is nothing but it will update the multiple records and the one, or it will then the something one. Next one is valid method. So is valid method is used to one. Is action about is nothing but checks to see if the current record action is to be aborted. That means if the record is maybe it will going to aborted at the time, what happens? It will check for the same thing one. And next thing is valid. That means is returns true if current table exists. That means so the record which may we are executing, we need to returns the table is written. It will show them. Is valid field. Is valid field is nothing but it returns the true if the field name is existing in the database. So is valid is nothing but it will returns true if the table is existing in the database. These two. And is valid record is nothing but whether the record is already existing in the system. This is the basic thing. Next one, order by. So order by, that means whenever if you fetch the table, so what we will do is we will what we can say, whenever if you fetch the table and we will fetch the records, and what is the order we can sort it out. So that is order by. So order by is nothing but it will fetch the records in the field name ascending order. That is order by DESC. That is order by the field name in the descending order. We can do for the same thing for it. So this is the order by methods we used to in the glide methods. We can use the same thing for it. So this is the next one thing, and next step is operators. Operators is nothing but right, equal to, not equal to, all the stuff we can use the same thing. So equal to is a equal to the num value and not equal to the operator, and a greater than or equal to, less than or equal to not equal to, and in. So till now you guys can easily understood. So in set value, we can, that means it will set the values whether it can for the same thing or not in the set or not. It will verify it. Not in the nothing but it is not in the set or not. Starts with is nothing but when the record is started with the those keywords or not, or ends with the record is the sorry the filter is ends with or not. The record contains is nothing but whether the record is contains or not. Doesn't contain, so whether the record doesn't contain those values. And instance of is nothing but, so whether the record is a class or subclass of the value, we can check the for the same thing. Basically these are the glide record methods which is used to for the system to all the other things for it. So these are the most glide APIs. So once this is classes, I will share this document to you in a WhatsApp. So you guys can check for the same thing. Any questions till now what we discussed? Okay, very good. So I have given a few examples also here for the script here in the document. See here glide record, the incident, and guide active query, which is used to fetch the active records in the system. And gr dot query, it will fetch the information, and gr dot next will go to the next step for the iterative script for the same. Next one, see this is the one, an encoded query, you can see it, right? Priority 1 and priority 2, that is maybe high and low priority, we can use the same thing for it. For the add query, what it will use to, what are the above this, oh it will get the filters for the same thing. See, active is true, that is fine. Active is true and created on greater than before it, that means this one. So what are this for one, it will fetch by the this query condition. Next one, sorry, no, we cannot mix it. That if you want to mix it, we can convert as a one string query, and we can use an encoded query. That's one. And next one, see, right? Add query, add or condition. What you can see, right? So first we use the table here, and GC code add null query, and that is a one. In that null query, we can add a add or condition. We can do the same thing here, whether the logged user or not. So this is the one. And next one is a delete is nothing but delete is used to create a one record at a time, and delete multiple is used to multiple records can delete it. Later you can see, right, this dot can create, can delete, can return. We used to check the whether the user has the access or not for the same thing here. Next one, if you go to the display, see, right. So what is the display value in that one particular record? We can do the same thing here. And for the field, we can display the same thing here. Get display. Next one, get encode query. So these are all few methods where we can verify after this one, and you can ask the same thing one. Till now you clear what is it? These are the glide methods. You clear, right? What is the glide method, glide record API? Next one, glide aggregate. So use glide aggregate to run easily database aggregations. The aggregations methods is nothing but which is a count, sum, minimum, maximum, and average of the records. So all we can as a glide aggregate queries. So that means this glide aggregate, which is extend from the glide records. That means you want to see what are the count of the records, we can directly count of the records on the state value. It will fetch the directly of the same thing. Instead of we can go to the glide record and all the stuff. So what we can do is we can directly go to the state, sorry, glide aggregate of the table name, and what is the field, we can add a filter, and we can print, we can check what are the values for the same thing here. That is a glide aggregate will be shown, and see the, these are the methods. Glide aggregate method, add an aggregate function to the field name. That is a count, minimum, maximum, or sum for this one. Add query adds a filter. That means for the operator for the one. Add trend is nothing but which is a time frame. So it's as a time interval trend for a field and a time interval. So here quarter, date, week, date, day of week, and hour. All these are all we can configure from here. Next one, get aggregate string. That's one returns the value of an aggregate function for field name. That means it will be aggregate the string and all the things we can use the same thing. Next one, group by. Group by is nothing but if you want to group by filter, for example, simple group by is nothing but if I use a group by, these are group by. If you want to use, we can use this group by method for the same thing here. Next one, order by aggregate. That is nothing but orders the aggregate result based upon the specified aggregate function in the field name. That means we can sort right. That we can use the same thing for it. So for this, these are the one examples for this aggregate function. So we can use that trend and all those types for the same thing. Okay. So this is the basic how the glide record and glide what you can say glide aggregate methods we can use the same thing. So till now, any questions on this one? This is the very small thing, but which plays a very important role for the when you read a college glide record on the stuff, it will be very useful for this class, today's class. So mostly the development concepts will start from this one and develop administrative this glide record methods for the same thing. So and also we have another sessions for the another how we can call it that APIs that we can cover in the next classes. So any questions on the today's class? Okay, whether you have any questions? Any questions? I'm just closing the session for today. Any questions in the previous topics? Okay. If no other questions, guys,